Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Steph and today I have the most fall vlog that I probably have ever made. In this vlog, not only are we reading 3 very fall appropriate books, we are also going to the pumpkin patch and we're going to this fall festival / pumpkin event. They have like a bunch of carved pumpkins and I am so excited. I'm excited for everything. Books wise, we're gonna be tackling the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, which going into this, I didn't actually know if it's in fall. Despite what this cover was screaming rather, I wasn't 100% sure if it took place in the fall or if it was fall themed because the cafe is called the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, but never fear, it does take place in the fall. This is a small town romance. It does have a small mystery element to it, which is very exciting. And then I'm finally picking up A Werewolf's Guide to Seducing a Vampire. This is the 3rd book in the Glimmer Falls series, the first one being A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon. And as you know, if you've watched most of my vlogs recently, I have read the first 2 in the Glimmer Falls series and I have enjoyed both of them, but the first one is by far my favorite of the 2 that I've read. But I have a very good feeling that this is going to be my favorite, if not just like right up there with the first one. This one is obviously about a werewolf and a vampire, but we do know our main character, Ben. We have seen him in the 2 books that have come out so far, so I'm very excited to see his story unfold and what kind of shenanigans are going to happen, because that is this series in a nutshell, just shenanigans upon shenanigans. And then I'm going to be tackling the 2nd book in the Good Girl's Guide to Murder series, Good Girl Bad Blood. Can't really talk too much about it because of spoilers, but I will be reading it because it is one of my Patreon picks for my series read along, and I need to get to it because the discussion is happening soon. Also, what's better than a murder mystery in fall? Good morning, it's Pumpkin Patch Day. The Pumpkin Patch is probably one of my favorite things that we do during the fall, next to this fall festival that we go to every single year. We've been doing it for like 5 years now. So those are my 2 favorite things that we do. So today is Pumpkin Patch Day and I am so excited, but I'm tired, so I'm gonna make a matcha. And Jared has been stripping paint from our old dining set that we are going to like strip the paint from and then weatherize so we can use it as a dining table in our backyard, which I'm very excited about. It's been a very long process. He's been working so hard on it. Anyway, he's sanding some of the chairs right now and I have to go let him know that I'm up and like ready to get ready. Otherwise he will spend like 7 hours doing this project. Just kidding about making matcha. We are getting fancy coffee today. I have a handful of almonds. Because I can't drink caffeine on an empty stomach. So this is what we're doing. You know, living the life on the way to the patch.
What's alive inside your mind, my dear?
Where are we at?
The pet,
Where?
we're back again at the patch. We at the pumpkin patch.
And do you find it terrifying? You always let me know. You always let me go my way. You always let me know. You never let it show my deed. My only friend to the end. What's still alive inside your mind, my dear? Terrified of getting over you. You always let me know. You always let me go my way. You always let me know. You never let it show.
Hi, this vlog update is literally about nothing except to tell you that I got to wear a sweater today. I'm getting to wear a sweater today because it's actually gloomy outside. It's gloomy. It's 58 degrees right now. It's only going to be like 60 something degrees. I'm thriving. Is fall finally here? No, I'm speaking too soon because in California, we'll have like 3 gloomy days and then it's going to be hot as hell for like a week straight. So I'm not getting my hopes up, but I'm just relishing in the moment of being able to wear a sweater today. Okay, living in the moment. Good morning, friends. I finally started the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I'm basically done with it. I think the audiobook maybe has an hour left, but yeah, I'm almost done. I'm basically at the 3rd act breakup, I guess you could say. I don't actually know if it's gonna be a breakup. It's just, there's a lot of tension building at this point in the book, so I feel like maybe that 3rd act is gonna happen, but I don't really know if it'll happen or not. Because I thought it was kind of happening. I thought we were in the midst of it happening in the last chapter, and then like they kind of resolved it in a way that was very mature, and I enjoyed that. I had a rocky start with this one, and I specifically think it's because of the audiobook. I just don't think that the narrator matches these characters, and it throws me off a little bit, or it threw me off a little bit. I'm fine with it now, but I do think that the audiobook is a little bit off for what I've been picturing and like the characters I'm picturing. But it's not a horrible audiobook, it just doesn't really match the vibes to me. But this is super cute, and I think that it'll give you remnants of like Stars Hollow from Gilmore Girls, or The Small Town in Heart of Dixie, because both of those towns, like, well, they're on the same lot. If you didn't know that, Heart of Dixie and Gilmore Girls are filmed on the same lot. So the gazebo, the beloved gazebo, is a staple in both of those shows. So like, it's gonna give those same vibes. But also in Heart of Dixie and Gilmore Girls, there's lots of gossip. The town loves to gossip. And in here, the town loves to gossip. Also, it's confirmed, I don't actually know if I talked about it in the very beginning, but I wasn't 100% sure if this took place in October. Despite the cover, I wasn't sure if it took place in October, because I do know by watching Jan's vlog, I don't think it's her most recent vlog, but one of her more recent vlogs, she read The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, which is the 2nd book in this series, and it takes place like more in the summer. So I wasn't actually sure if this took place in the fall, despite everything screaming fall. It does. It does take place in the fall. As a matter of fact, there's like a little fall festival that takes place in here, and I think that it's perfect because I'm going to a little fall festival in a couple of days. So anyway, I am loving this simply because I'm a simple girl and I love a cafe. I love a cafe, and I love somebody on their journey of owning a cafe. Like Janine, our main character, she was gifted this cafe, the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, from her aunt, because her aunt just had this like change of heart and wanted to go live her life a little bit more, do a little eat, pray, love moment. And so she decides to gift her cafe to Janine. And we know that Janine kind of has had a whole situation unfold with her last job and her career that has made her realize that she needs a change of pace, and she needs to kind of find a happier and more balanced life. So she does think that this small town and this journey of owning a coffee shop is going to do that for her. So she kind of packs up her whole life and decides to take her aunt up on this offer, and is going to open the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. In the beginning portion of moving in, weird things start to happen. So also, contrary to popular belief, I thought for a while that this might be a murder mystery. While it is not a murder mystery, it's in fact just a romance. There is a mystery component in here, because as Janine moves into the cafe, there's weird noises happening every night that's keeping her up. There's weird situations that are unfolding throughout the book where she is kind of under the impression that she's either haunted or somebody is trying to sabotage her. So I wasn't really expecting that mystery element to it, because I did figure out very quickly by people's reviews that this is just a small town romance, but there is a mystery component, and it's been pretty fun and silly and goofy, and I'm excited to like get the reveal of what this mystery is. In terms of our love interest Logan, he has quite a sordid past, but specifically he has just started to get over this really big public breakup where he proposed to his last girlfriend and she just rejected him in front of everybody. So because Janine is an out-of-towner and he thinks that this may be a whim for her, he's a little too scared to settle down. and rightfully so. Like, he's very embarrassed by this public breakup. So that's like the tension between them. And they do have fairly good chemistry, and I do like them, but I think that I like them more individually than I care if they get together or not, which isn't making me dislike the book, because there's so many side characters that I really enjoy and so many side plots that I enjoy. Particularly, there is this smutty book club that meets in the cafe, and Janine joins it, and it's just hilarious to me. I really want this book club in my life, as a matter of fact. But I think couple-wise, I wasn't really convinced of their relationship until like a little more than halfway through the book. Now I'm really rooting for them. I do want them to be together, but I wasn't like necessarily super invested or convinced in their relationship. But overall, this is very cute, and the vibes are there. Like, this definitely is giving the fall vibes. This is definitely giving the small town and the small town gossip. I love the ownership of the cafe and the trials and tribulations of the cafe and being a new owner of a business. I like all those things. The mystery is also intriguing to me, because I'm like, what's happening? What's going to be the end results of this? Because it's obviously not a ghost, right? Maybe it is. Maybe this is going to take a turn, a little Halloween turn. But yeah, I am interested enough to finish this. And I'm also interested enough in a lot of the side characters who I definitely know are going to have books. And I already know, based off the title of the second book, who is going to be in the second book. That's also why I love romance series, is because you get to see the different couples, or like the tension between other couples, or the possibility of other couples within multiple different books. I really like that. So I'm probably gonna finish this today. I don't know if it'll be at work, because I have a lot of trainings to do today. Like, I signed up for a lot of webinars for like career advancement, and I have 2 in a row today, and then I have like a couple meetings with coworkers, and then I'm on the desk all day. So I don't have this on ebook, so I'll probably have to start something else, which possibly is gonna be a werewolf's guide to seducing a vampire, I think is what it's called, because I do have the ebook for that one. So that's potentially what I'll be starting tonight. Maybe I will be updating you on both of these books tomorrow. We went to our little fall festival yesterday. It was so fun. It was slightly smaller than it normally is, but they had this like great food section that they've never had before, like at least on the scale. They always have like little snacks and stuff throughout, but this time they made like a whole little section. It was really great. We got some food, we got some apple cider. It was great. And then I fell asleep listening to the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, which I don't love the narrator for this book, but I have a pretty high tolerance for narrators and audiobooks. Like, it doesn't really affect my enjoyment as much. But I will say that if you want to read the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, I don't know if the audiobook's the way to go. Anyway, I'm actually really here to update because I have this new drink. I saw it online. I saw it on Instagram, and it was definitely someone on Bookstagram. I feel like she always shares tea recipes. So if I can find this particular account, I will link it down below. Anyway, I have my favorite mug right now. I love him. I have some chai tea bags, and I have just some Swiss Miss, some hot chocolate. You can use whatever. So you literally just make a hot chocolate and you put a tea bag into it and you steep it, and like, it's this delicious little chocolate tea situation. You also can use Earl Grey, which I absolutely love as well. I've just been really into chais right now. So yeah, I'm gonna make that, and then I actually have a full day of editing, so I won't really be reading much today, but I'm hoping that half the day is editing, half the day is cleaning. So if editing goes well and I do get half the day to clean, then I will be listening to Pumpkin Spice Cafe.
I give you the world like I promised I would. Even though you wouldn't do the same, I'd give you the world like I promised I would. Even though you wouldn't do the same. Had this conversation more than 10 times. After 9, I still wish you were mine. Haven't ate in 7 days, 'cause I've been up till 6 a.m. Wrote 5 songs all just for you. 3 of them I can't bear listening to. I'd give you the world like I promised I would.
Hello friends, so I have some exciting updates. I did finish the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I started A Werewolf's Guide to Fake Dating. Fake Dating? No, that's the title of the first one. A Werewolf's Guide to Seducing a Vampire. And I also need to show you the most important purchase that I've ever made in my entire life, and it's this bookmark. This is a little cat paw. This is the front side. This is the back, and it's truly the most important purchase that I've ever made in my life. Okay, so let's talk about the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. So I finished this the other day. I think when I did my check-in, I was only like 100 pages from the end. My feelings really didn't change with this book. I enjoy this. I think it's super cute. I think the mystery was a fun little addition to it. I will say the best part of the story is literally the atmosphere of this town and the side characters, and the fact that it very much feels very Gilmore Girl-esque, which is something I'm always looking for in small town romances, to be honest, and this for sure nails it. If anything, I would say that Lori Gilmore, which I'm wondering if that's purposeful, I would say that she spent more time building great side characters that will definitely have additional books in this series, as well as a small town that has that charm, that has that Gilmore Girls feeling. If you were looking for that, then yeah, I would pick up the series. But if you do like strong connections with your two characters, because this at the end of the day is a romance, even though there is a mystery element and there's also an element of our main character finding herself. This is dual POV, so it does feel like it is supposed to be more romance forward, but I do think that we spend a lot more time with, for the most part, our individual characters kind of finding themselves, but I would say that our main female character, Janine, she spends a little bit more time finding herself. She has a little bit more of a, I'm coming into this small town from having this really high-end job that took over my entire life. Now I'm running this cafe and like trying to find myself and find where I fit in this new life and like how I want my life to kind of look from here on out. And then our male main character, Luke, like he's really struggling with like abandonment issues. And that is a huge part of his personality within this book. I would say that it is a lot about them finding themselves in ways, but I think that for Janine, that's more of the storyline, and for Luke, it's more of him learning to trust people again. And I liked those stories individually. Them together, I didn't personally feel that the chemistry was super strong. Like, I thought they were cute together. I think that the conflict based on what they experienced in their past made sense, but I'm not sure that I bought the chemistry right away. I'm not sure that I was necessarily like giddy or rooting that hard for this couple. I liked them individually. I was rooting for them to go on their little healing journey. And at the end of the day, I was like rooting for them to be together, but I also wouldn't have been disappointed if they didn't get together and they kind of remained friends or something like that, which obviously is not the point of the story. But I always know that at the end of a romance book, if I would be kind of okay if they remained friends rather than actually got together, then I don't personally think the chemistry was fully there for me. So while I can say that the couple was just fine, I didn't necessarily feel the chemistry fully. I can say that the atmosphere in here was perfection. The fall festivals that were happening, the different fall events were really, really fun, and it was exciting, and it definitely was like one of those perfect fall reads. I also think that a lot of the side characters, as I said before, were really great, and I loved the book club that happens in here. I love the friendships that unfold in here. And I really do like our main character, Janine. I think that her journey was probably more interesting for me. And I like her maybe a little bit more than I like Luke, although I like him. I just realized I keep calling him Luke. His name is Logan. I just have Gilmore Girls on the brain. His name is Logan, not Luke. Anyway, I did have a really fun time with this in terms of like atmosphere, side characters, and Janine. But as for the romance, I like didn't care that much. I just didn't care that much, but it was cute at times. I don't know. I'm so glad that people are loving this, and I'm glad to have more fall romances and just fall books in general. And I will be moving on with the series because I was very invested in the side characters. So I'm interested to see if, because we know these side characters already and we already kind of know who the next couple is going to be. So I'm curious if I'll feel differently about that couple and about the romance, or if maybe Lori Gilmore is not the romance author for me, even though I love the small town feelings. I feel like I will end up also reading The Christmas Tree Farm because it looks cute, even though I don't like historically love Christmas books. But am I gonna try to read it? Probably. I don't know. Anyway, then I moved into A Werewolf's Guide to Seducing a Vampire, and this is very funny and silly and goofy, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it as much as I loved the first one. So this is the Glimmer Falls series, and the first one in here is A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon, and that one is like my favorite witchy contemporary romance that I've read probably ever, or at least in a very long time. And I did read the second one. I liked it fine. And now I'm reading the third one and I'm loving it. I'm also so silly, goofy, clumsy, and I just got water damage all over the back of this and I'm quite upset about it. So this one is following our very sweet, very anxious little bean of a character, Ben. He is a werewolf, but he doesn't like fit the werewolf archetype, and he's very aware of that. And then this is Eleonora. She is half vampire, half succubus, which is a very rare breed in this world. And she is from two elite bloodlines from medieval times, but in her 30s, an evil witch tricked her, stuck her into a stone, and forced her to obey all of her commands. Well, one day Ben, who is very desperate to find the love of his life, he really wants to settle down, he really wants a family, he wants that love. And you see that at the very beginning of the book. He's actually at a wedding and he's very emotional, which kind of leads him to try to make a dating profile, but he ends up on eBay and he finds this really weird post where they're like, ooh, selling this crystal for this hot, sexy vampire, buy now. And he thinks it's a joke. Little does he know he's actually buying Eleonora. So when she pops out of this crystal, he's like, what the fuck? And he doesn't really know what to do in this situation. And Eleonora, obviously, from her perspective, she thinks that he bought her to be able to be in command of her and make her do anything that he wishes. So she has actually a lot of PTSD from the situation, rightfully so, and as you can imagine. And Ben suffers very much from anxiety, and he's also just very, very sweet and kind of a people pleaser. And so he's trying to convince Eleonora that like he did not mean for this to happen, but she obviously does not trust him very quickly. So they're trying to build that rapport. Meanwhile, Eleonora is also just trying to navigate the 21st century because the last time she remembers being in the human world is the 60s. And so now we're in like 2024. There are cell phones, etc. And apparently the witch that had tricked her and that she had lived most of her life under her command used to love Star Trek. So Eleonora makes a lot of Star Trek references when she sees technology, and it's pretty silly, goofy, funny. I also felt this way about the first book. The writing is great. I love the banter. There are things that actually make me laugh out loud. I think this author is very good at chemistry between her characters. But further, I think that for these being just contemporary romances that obviously have a bit of like the urban fantasy feel to them, she does a really good job of setting up plot lines and like interesting fantastical elements to it while also keeping it very contemporary. And I think that this one specifically, because of Eleonora's past and like how long she's been alive, I think that her backstory is very well done, and it's very, I don't know, like I love reading about it. I think so far, I wouldn't say that this one is outweighing the first one for me. I think they're kind of the same level of enjoyment for me at this moment. But I will say that I think this one, in terms of the plot and backstories and stuff, has been done even better than the first one, which was a plot and a backstory that I really enjoyed, as it were. So I think that this author is just kind of getting better and better. And obviously different tropes and things like that are going to work better for me than others. And that's why the second book didn't work that well for me, is there's like an amnesia plot line. So like some of those elements in that book just didn't work for me because of the tropes in that one, not so much because it was just like a weak book. I actually think this author might become an auto-buy author for me, because I have enjoyed everything that I've read. Even if it hasn't been a new favorite, I've enjoyed everything. And I've actually laughed out loud, which I don't really do very often with books. So I'm very excited to finally have gotten to this one, and that it's living up to the hype for me so far. Also, I just love a sensitive boy. I just love a sensitive boy. And I think that it's really fun that he is a werewolf and he is so aware of the archetype that he should fall into and how he doesn't. Like, he loves knitting and he's just so sweet and sensitive, and he owns a little plant shop, and I don't know, I just love him. And Eleonora is actually the one who's like bloodthirsty and ready to take down anyone at any time. And I think that's also very funny within their dynamic, and how he just like accepts her for who she is and she accepts him for who he is, and I'm loving it. So yeah, I'm actually 25 chapters in, so I'm here. Probably finish this tonight. I think the audiobook said I had an hour and a half left, if not a little bit more. I'm doing some reading sprints right now and playing Breath of the Wild, because I decided to restart Breath of the Wild. I guess like a month ago, I finished Tears of the Kingdom, and I was finishing up like a lot of side quests and stuff, and I finally finished everything that I kind of wanted to do in that game. And so I was like, should I restart Tears of the Kingdom? No, I'm gonna restart Breath of the Wild. So I have restarted Breath of the Wild, and it has taken over my life. It's interesting to me how different the buttons are. I didn't really think about it. I'm sure that I struggled with it when I switched from Breath of the Wild to Tears of the Kingdom. But yeah, going back to it, I'm like, wow, the controls are a lot different. The menu's in different places. There are different things in here. They really did some great updates in Tears of the Kingdom, but I still have a huge soft spot for Breath of the Wild. So yeah, I restarted that. Hello, it's me in this really aggressive lighting. I have officially finished the Werewolf's Guide to Seducing a Vampire. Why do I always have to look at the title? Because I forget it, and I mix up all three of these titles in this series so far, because they're all very similar yet different, but a mouthful all the same. Anyway, I finished this. I loved it. I'm just in a kind of horrible mood right now because I had to do this update on my computer and now it's like not compatible with my editing software. And so I'm like trying to update my editing software, but it's like, oh, you need to update your computer one more time to get this editing software. And let me tell you, I'm already in the middle of editing 3 videos. And the thing I fear is because obviously we're gonna get to the point where I get it updated enough to where it's compatible and it's fine, it's all good. But the fear is that once I get to that point, that all of the work that I have done on my editing software will be lost. That's my big fear. I'm hoping, I'm praying, I have all my fingers, toes, my cat's paws and toe beans crossed that that is not the case. This is why I never do updates, which is bad. I know that. I know that I need to do more frequent updates on my computer, but I don't because I don't want to deal with any of this, but I had to because I have a work from home day and I need Teams to work on my computer, and it was like, you need to update your computer, and I was like, oh, here we go. So now I'm spiraling. Anyway, I finished. I loved it as I predicted that I would, which I'm really excited that my prediction was correct. And this is definitely solidifying this author as being like an auto by author for me, that this is going to be one of my favorite like fall witchy contemporary vampire werewolf. I'm sure she's going to explore other creatures, but this, like, I don't know if you would call it urban fantasy, but whatever this romance series is, whatever you consider it, this is definitely my new favorite. I hope there's more in the series. I definitely feel like we have met a few other characters slash have known a few characters since the beginning of this series that could definitely get their own book, and I'm really hoping for that because I do love like all of the side characters in here. So I'm excited to see other people getting their stories, and like, is it going to be as silly and goofy as this one? There have been so many scenes in this book and the first book particularly that I laughed out loud about. Like, there are even pop culture references in here that don't really bother me, which is how I know that I really enjoy the writing and I really enjoy the characters, where like pop culture references don't really faze me. I was a little nervous when we were talking about Star Trek a lot in the beginning of the book. I thought that maybe I wouldn't enjoy this one as much because we would spend too much time making those types of references, but it really doesn't take over much of the plot. Like, it's referenced here and there and it's kind of silly and funny, and I like the way that it's utilized. And I feel like the pop culture references aren't like out of place or kind of cheesy, I guess. But it could also just be that I like this book a lot and so it doesn't bother me. Anyway, I have to answer this phone call. 1 second. Okay, sorry, Jared was calling me. Anyway, I love Ben and Eleonora. I especially love the conversations around consent because that's like such a huge thing for her. And I also love the conversations about anxiety because Ben definitely deals with anxiety. And I like their dynamic and their relationship a lot because he's such a soft, quiet guy, and Eleonora is just very abrasive and she's loud and she's in your face and she has no filter, and I just really love their dynamic. So yeah, absolutely loved this. Glad that it worked for me. Glad that my prediction that this would be one of my favorites in this series is true. I don't know if it's my first favorite or not. I feel like I would have to reread both of these and then kind of rank which one is my favorite. I'm just hoping there's more in this series, and if there's not, then I'm going to be revisiting these 3 every fall. But now, I'm probably not going to start it tonight, but I definitely need to read tomorrow and Sunday Good Girl Bad Blood by Holly Jackson. So I'm hoping to get through that in the next 2 days, and we can wrap this vlog up. Passenger Princess here to report that we're going to the bookstore.
The sun goes around the state. Can't wait for the long day. 'Cause baby, like, ooh, it's all another flower lane. The sun goes around the state. Can't wait for the long day. In the sun when I found
Good morning. It's Saturday. I got to wear a sweater again today, so I'm so excited. It's the same sweater, yeah, because I've been doing this vlog for 2 weeks, okay? Also, I own a washing machine. It's so cozy, it's so soft, it's cropped. So I'm just loving it. I'm vibing with it. So wearing it 2 weeks in a row because I am an outfit repeater. Anyway, I wanted to update because I started Good Girl, Bad Blood, and I'm already like a quarter of the way into the book, and I'm really enjoying this one. This is the second book in the Good Girl's Guide to Murder series, but the thing is, because this is the second book in a mystery series, the first mystery is very prevalent in this second book. And sometimes, you know, with these mystery series, like the mysteries are kind of like standalone mysteries, but this one definitely follows the aftermath of what happened in the first book. And so I'm not really going to be able to talk about it very much. I'll definitely be giving you my overall impressions of what's going on here and like how I'm liking it, but I'm not really going to be able to talk about it. But yeah, if I'm being vague, that's why. Anyway, I have my little hot chocolate tea concoction this morning, and yeah, I have a lot of work to do today. I have a lot of like webinars and stuff to get through and training stuff to get through, so it's gonna be a busy day of not really being able to listen to my audiobooks much at all, but hopefully on my lunch break I can. Hello friends, I have finished Good Girl, Bad Blood, and like I said, I can't talk too much about it, but I will give you the synopsis for Good Girl's Guide to Murder, I guess, if you're interested in that one. I mean, the mystery from the first one plays into the second one. We find out a lot about the aftermath that happened in the first book, and then there's like a whole new mystery that unfolds in the second book. Overall, I liked it. I didn't love it. I didn't like it as much as I liked the first one. I'm not sure what it is about this other than maybe feeling like it's kind of repeating what we did in the first one, but just like slightly different. But in A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, we're following our main character Pip, and she is in high school and she is doing a capstone project. And in this capstone project, she is starting a podcast where she is investigating the case of Andie Bell. And Andie Bell went missing a few years prior, the number one suspect being her boyfriend. And her boyfriend ended up committing suicide, and in his suicide note confessed to the murder of Andie Bell. But things felt a little bit off for some people that knew her boyfriend because there was just no way to them that he could do it. So for Pip, this is something that like she's thought about for years and years, and she decides to open the investigation again. I think the best part about this book is the way that it's told, the formatting of how it's told. But the biggest critique of this book is the fact that Pip is a teenager, and why are they letting her open this case that's been solved? But we do get a resolution at the end of the book for this particular mystery. So going into the second book, we are getting more of the aftermath of the mystery that unfolded in the first book. And then in the second book, not only are we getting that aftermath, we also get this new mystery. There's a different person that's missing, and a family comes to Pip to investigate the situation because the police won't even touch the case. So Pip is living her best amateur PI life, and I will say that the resolution of this was fairly interesting. Some of the twists and turns in this book, like, I don't know, it feels so unrealistic already having this amateur sleuth. So when the twists and turns are very outlandish or very just like over the top, I know it's supposed to be fun because it's a book and it's fake, but it just starts to take me out of the book a little bit. And I guess I didn't feel that way about the first one. Like I didn't feel like everything was over the top. It actually felt quite realistic to me despite Pip being a teenager. I think the mystery itself felt realistic to me. It felt like it could be something that happened, not necessarily that a teenager was going to solve it, not that a teenager couldn't solve it. I think teenagers could take over the world. But I think with this one, I just started to lose that sense of like, yeah, this feels real. This feels like this would happen. It just felt a little over the top and dramatic, but I do think that this book hooks me every time, and I always get into it and like listen all the way through in one sitting pretty much. Because if it weren't for work, I probably would have finished it on Saturday, but I ended up finishing it yesterday. So Holly Jackson knows how to hook me. I will say I also wonder if I have like a bad taste in my mouth from the reappearance of Rachel Price, because I ended up not loving that one, which was very disappointing for me because I did love A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. But this kind of had that same feeling that I had with the reappearance of Rachel Price. But to be fair to this book and to Holly Jackson in general, is I think that the mystery thriller genre is meant to be over the top, and I think that readers seek that out. I don't particularly like turn to this genre very often. When I do, I typically enjoy what I read, more so mysteries than thrillers, but I don't like seek out over the top thrillers and mysteries, I guess. So yeah, I will be moving on with the series. We are reading it on my Patreon as the read along. And the third one we're gonna be discussing next month. So I am gonna be moving into the third one, and I'm interested to see how people are liking it, because I've seen most of my patrons in the Discord really enjoy this. So I'm interested to see what the third book is gonna be like, because I just don't know how much more we need from this, or like can get from this, I guess. So that's where I'm like struggling, and I'm a little bit concerned about the third book. But otherwise, I still think it was a very solid read. Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me this last couple of weeks, doing all the fall activities that I possibly could cram in. I don't know if I'll be vlogging any more of the fall festivities, simply because I have a really exciting to me, don't get your hopes up, but I have a very exciting to me vlog coming out next week. But that vlog is basically done, which is why I'm saying that I probably wouldn't film more for it. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. I hope that you've had a wonderful fall season so far. Let me know down below if you've done anything fun for the season, or if you don't really like celebrating the fall. That's fair. That's fine. That's fair. But if you've made it this far and just want to say hi, feel free to leave a wolf emoji down below, and I will talk to y'all next time. Bye, friends.